The National World War II Memorial in Washington, D.C. is the singular memorial in the United States that commemorates World War II and its veterans and the time in our history when Americans on the home front were united in support of our service members' efforts on the battlefront to defeat authoritarianism, fascism, and racism, and to bring freedom to millions around the globe. As the Friends of the National World War II Memorial, we are dedicated to teaching those lessons of yesterday to unite the generations of tomorrow, and we are committed to shining a light on those who work to unify our great country. We are honored to announce the Honorable Norman Mineta as the recipient of our 2022 Brigadier General Charles E. McGee UNITY Award. This award signifies Mineta's lifelong public service as a military veteran, congressman, cabinet member, and advocate for noble causes. Mineta was born in California in 1931. As the son of Japanese immigrants, he spent the early years of his life in the shameful internment camps established during World War II that have now been morally and legally condemned for their unconstitutionality. Despite the injustice done to him and his family, Mineta remained committed to the American ideal. He graduated from the University of California at Berkeley and joined the Army, serving in Japan and Korea. He entered public life serving as the mayor of San Jose, a U.S. congressman, and as Secretary of Commerce and Secretary of Transportation. As Transportation Secretary during the September 11, 2001 attacks, he was an inspirational and pivotal leader during that tragic time. In a time of great upheaval, he ensured that racial profiling and discrimination would not become American policy again. During this tumultuous time in our history, Norm Mineta was a stalwart defender of our country, our Constitution, and our democratic way of life. He has continued to live a life of public service and leadership, an exceptional advocate for unity, for faith in American democracy. In his words, just at the age of 10, he made a choice to believe in the American idea, not harbor a resentment. As a nation, we are incredibly grateful for people like Norman Mineta, people who have suffered, sacrificed, persevered, and inspired. The Brigadier General Charles E. McGee UNITY Award is named for such a man. Charles McGee was one of the legendary Tuskegee Airmen, an all-African-American military pilot group who fought during World War II, flying his first mission on Valentine's Day, 1944. He was a gentle warrior who served more than 30 years and flew a total of 409 combat missions in World War II, Korea, and Vietnam. One of the highest combat mission totals and longest active duty careers of any Air Force fighter pilot in our history. General McGee faced much discrimination during his time in service, but he inspired thousands with his tireless commitment to excellence, kindness, education, and public service. He was a unifier, a teacher, and one hell of a pilot. He was a beacon of generosity and good humor, a gentleman who always had time to share his wise words and laughter with younger generations. Sadly, General McGee passed away in January of 2022 at the age of 102. He is missed, but his legacy continues.
I chaired the Aviation Subcommittee for the House Committee on Public Works and Transportation, and met Colonel McGee in 1980 or 82, as I recall. And we talked about aviation and, of course, his experience with the Tuskegee Airmen. And then about 2 weeks later, I met him again, and at that time had the opportunity to be at the same dinner table. And we had a great conversation, and I really got to admire and respect this person for his perseverance, despite all the things that were obstructions to him. And he is a true gentleman. And I just really got to like him and followed him in terms of reading more about now General McGee. And so for me to be receiving this award with his name on it, for me is a true honor, and I am just overwhelmed and thrilled.
We are the children of Brigadier General Charles E. McGee. I'm his oldest child. I'm Charlene McGee Smith, and in this new age of racial reconciliation, I congratulate the Friends of the National World War II Memorial for shining a spotlight on unity. We are thrilled that our father's name will be memorialized on this award and believe it is very fitting. I have witnessed how his story reaches all ages, genders, races, ethnicities, religions, abilities, and persuasions. It's tempting to think we can legislate our way to unity, but that falls short. Unity begins as we learn about and from one another, one story at a time.
I'm Yvonne McGee, the youngest, and I've been able to witness many of Dad's interviews from several people, and a lot of times they always ask him for some guiding words and things that he's used, and he always refers to the song Accentuate the Positive, which goes accentuate the positive, eliminate the negative, latch on to the affirmative, and don't mess with Mr. In Between. And I don't know how long that's been going on in his head. I know Bing Crosby sang it back in '44, which was the time Dad was over in Europe during World War II. But it's been something that he's always shown as part of his character, is that he's such a positive person. And I think that unifying, that positive attitude has been a unifying part of his personality, and why so many people are drawn to him and love him.
Hi, I'm Ronald McGee, Charles's son, and we had the opportunity to attend the 60th anniversary of D-Day. And one of the guys on the tour was a young woman, and she was asked a question, why is she doing this? And I was really taken by her answer. She said she's doing it because her grandfather was a French freedom fighter who was killed during the war. And she thinks it's important that we remember in wartime so that we don't repeat the same things again, and that we unite. And so that with other countries and everyone else to prevent that. And Dad's always said the same thing. He's been called 3 different times to wars. And when he came back because of the racial inequality and everything else, he was still labeled African American. And to this day, he always come to the call of the country. And he always says that he wishes we get to the point that we can drop the labeling, because it leads to division and not unity. Doesn't mean that you don't respect your heritage, but we're all Americans. And beyond that, he also says that he's talked overseas several times. So and as far as uniting everybody, he says we need to realize that we are all the same race, the human race.
One of the things I think that makes our country so great and resilient is the fact that we're not a nation of I or me. We're a nation of we and us. And we all work together to make things better for our children, our neighbors, whomever, our communities. We are such a strong country because we're able to support each other, look to each other for help, and we expect it.
On behalf of JAVA and its members, we congratulate JAVA's honorary chair, the Honorable Norman Y. Mineta, and the 2022 and the second recipient of the Brigadier General Charles E. McGee UNITY Award. Norman Mineta has dedicated his life to public service and giving back to the community. He is one of the strongest advocates in educating the American public about the injustices and discrimination that were imposed on persons of Japanese ancestry living in America after the attack on Pearl Harbor in 1941. He used his personal knowledge of those hardships to inspire others, and his public service skills to right those wrongs. His vigorous commitment to ensuring that those wrongs are never repeated against any disadvantaged groups demonstrates his unwavering patriotism and his faith in America. He is a role model, showing that through perseverance, strength, and integrity, all Americans as well as future generations, can use shared experiences to find common ground, to unite, to fight against prejudice and injustice, and to preserve the continued success of our democracy. Again, congratulations, Norm. Thank you for your lifetime of service and personal commitment, and a job well done.
Citizen is a word that I cherish. When the executive order came out, ordering us to get prepared to go to camp, and those big placards started coming up, being stapled to utility poles and the sides of building, and it said, "Attention, all those of Japanese ancestry, alien and non-alien." I was 10 years old, and I looked at that sign and I said to my brother, who's 9 years older than me, I said, "Hey, what's non-alien?" "That's you." "What do you mean, me? I'm not a non-alien. I'm a citizen." And so I'm now today 90 years old, and I cherish the word citizen.
Norm was mayor of San Jose. Was a city councilman, then mayor, then member of Congress, and served in two presidential administrations as a cabinet officer, a Democrat and a Republican. And he was a young child in World War II, but that he would be recognized by the Friends of the World War II Memorial is quite fitting, because as a child, he spent his time in one of the relocation camps that our government sent Japanese Americans to. They were prison camps, only because of their heritage. It was one of the great transgressions in our constitutional history that should happen. But it's fitting that he would be remembered and honored by the Friends of the World War II Memorial, because Norm took away from that experience a lesson. And it's a lesson he reminded every staff person, whoever worked for him, and others, that people who don't have access to government, who don't have access to their leaders, who aren't heard, are always at risk, and that our democracy is fragile. And in these times, we know the fragility of our democracy. And it's important to remember and honor people like Norm Mineta, who are dedicated to making sure that our government always remains responsive to the citizens of this country. So I am pleased, I'm honored to be a part of this ceremony, to pay tribute to my good friend and political benefactor and colleague, the Honorable Norm Mineta.
Norman Mineta and Charles McGee are two men who overcame great adversity with grace, grit, and courage. In turbulent times, we will look to the example set by these two, so that we will be inspired by the power of unity and be reminded of the meaning of sacrifice. Friends of the National World War II Memorial is proud to honor Norman Mineta with the 2022 Brigadier General Charles E. McGee UNITY Award.
I just happen to be very, very proud of being a citizen of the United States of America. And I want others to show how proud they are about being a citizen. All of us collectively working together to improve life for the next generation.